Welcome to another Sim Sunday and the last of this European Commuter series, where we're looking at budget add-on aircraft for prepared 3D version 4.5 from VirtualCol. Today we're in Zurich, Switzerland's largest airport, and we're in the Airbus A220-100 of Swiss Air. This little add-on aircraft from VirtualCol was released in late 2019, making it one of VirtualCol's most recent releases. At the time of recording this video, it is early December 2020, and I plan to take this little Airbus from here in Zurich up to London City, which is a regular route for the Airbus A220 of Swiss. As most of you watching this probably already know, Swiss were the launch customer for the Bombardier C-Series jets, which would later become the Airbus 220, the smaller variant being the Series 100 and the larger variant being the Series 300. Anyway, I'll get back to all of that later on in the flight. For now, it is time to get into SimBrief and set the flight plan between here and Zurich and London City, and of course we'll be departing on runway 34 on a pretty standard SID that I've done many times from here in Zurich in prepared 3D version 4.5. The flight plan takes us north towards Paris to an altitude of flight level 380 or 38,000 feet before descending over the English Channel, and I'm expecting to be arriving into London City on runway 09, the easterly runway, making an arrival over the city. So I'm expecting great views made even better by Orbx True Earth, Great Britain South. Right, let's get this show on the road, and I'll explain a little bit more later about this aircraft from VirtualCol as we're making our journey from here in Zurich to London City.
Swiss 45 Juliet, cleared to London City Airport as filed. Fly runway heading, climb and maintain altitude 12,000. Departure on 120.75, squawk 1606.
Hello Captain, we are ready for pushback. Locking gear. Departure check completed, bypass pin inserted. Commencing push. All engines clear, start at will. Set parking brakes. Waiting your confirmation for good engine start.
Swiss 45 Juliet, taxi holding point for runway 34. Using taxiway India, November, Echo, Romeo, Echo, Niner. Contact tower on 119.7 when ready.
As we taxi out to runway 34 here at Zurich, it's probably time that I tell you a little bit more about this aircraft from VirtualCol. At the time of recording this video in early December 2020, it was the only A220 available for prepared or FSX. This is becoming a really popular little aircraft, competing of course with the larger Embraers, but also a lot of airlines using the 300 variant of this A220 to replace their older Airbus A319s, which is exactly what Air Canada has done. I therefore really wish that somebody like Aerosoft would produce a variant of this fantastic little aircraft. As I have said throughout this European Commuter series, these budget aircraft from VirtualCol cost less than $25, so I'm afraid you get what you pay for. And that means you shouldn't expect anywhere near the realism that you would expect from an Aerosoft or a PMDG aircraft. Not only do very few of the systems work on this add-on aircraft, but as you can see, the textures used are actually quite poor. Anyway, we're approaching the runway threshold here, so I'm going to shut up and get this bird into the sky.
Swiss 45 Juliet, cleared for takeoff. Runway 34, surface wind calm. Caution, Airbus A320 taking off. Runway 28. Austrian 562. Contact Zurich departure on 120.75. Changing to 120.75, Austrian 562, goodbye.
70 knots, 80 knots. V1. Rotate. V2.
Over 2120.75, Swiss 45, Juliet, 5.
Since flying these 7 aircraft from Virtual Columbia as part of my European Commuter series, I've gone straight back to flying the Aerosoft Airbus, the Quality Wings Dreamliner, and of course the PMDG 737, including my most recent purchase, the PMDG 777. There is no doubt once you've invested the time and money in the study level aircraft, you will never go back to budget aircraft like I've been flying in this European Commuter series. I hope you will agree with me that for $25 you do get a lot for your money, and even the rudimentary functions that you're finding in the multifunction display here actually do something, which is a lot more than you can say for the default aircraft. In all of the Virtual Columbia aircraft that I've shown you as part of this European Commuter series, all of the buttons in the overhead panel will have a corresponding warning in the CAS, but apart from that they do absolutely nothing else. For example, if you don't remember to switch on your APU after landing, well guys, in the Virtual Columbia aircraft it doesn't matter. The same for your fuel pump and bleed valves. Forget to switch them on or off, well quite frankly nothing happens. And that's why I think these budget aircraft from Virtual Columbia are so good if you're just starting out on your journey in flight sim.
Left heading 270, expect vectors ILS, runway 9er, approach, Swiss 45, Juliet.
As we descend over the English Channel, I was absolutely correct in my previous assumption, and we're being vectored towards runway 09 at London City. As I approach the south coast of England, we start to enter Orbx True Earth series for Great Britain. I have all 3 parts of it, and I have said in a previous video that I'm extremely disappointed. Even in my PC with an Intel i9 64GB of RAM, a dedicated 1TB SSD hard drive for flight sim alone, and a 2080 NVIDIA graphics card, Orbx True Earth Great Britain absolutely kills my PC. Maybe I should just accept that True Earth is designed for VFR pilots and not tubeliner pilots like myself. The ground texture frame rate is absolutely fine if you're flying low and slow, but when you're flying a jet like this, quite often the frame rate disappears and you get a very blurry and unfocused view of the ground below. In fact, on many flights into UK airspace, I tend to hit pause, go away and make a cup of coffee, and by the time I get back, the ground textures have finally redrawn and are back in focus.
Juliet, turn right heading 035. Turn right heading 035, Swiss 4.
Approaching London from the south, we're about to cross over the M25. Right, that's us being vectored towards runway 09 at London City. In a second, you're going to see the Twickenham Stadium, the home of English rugby, because that's us now turning right and therefore east towards the City of London. However, as I make my way towards runway 09 at London City, I can't help thinking how unreal this approach actually is. I have walked along Whitehall many times, seeing aircraft passing over at a low level on an easterly approach to London City for real, but I believe the base leg is actually much tighter in reality. Directly ahead of us is the City of London, and just south of the river is the Showard. And of course, just off to our right in the distance is Canary Wharf, where our hard work begins, or ends if I screw this up. Right, that's it. It's all down to me now. Aim for the runway, avoiding Canary Wharf, the Emirates cable car, and of course the Millennium Dome before passing XL.
Sink rate. $400. 300. 200.
Minimums.
100. 50. 40. 30. 20. 10.
70 knots.
Swiss 45 Juliet, contact ground on 121.825.
Well guys, I guess I made it, and I have to say that that was my first attempt. No retakes or heavy editing, which even surprised me. And with that, it's nearly time to bring this episode of Sim Sunday to a close. I do plan to visit London City in a future episode because I'm planning a future series, including flying the BA1 using the awesome Airbus A320 from Aerosoft. However, as I taxi towards the terminal, it is extremely disappointing to see that Ultimate Traffic has once again delivered no parked aircraft. In fact, after I completed this flight to London City, I uninstalled Ultimate Traffic 1 and reinstalled the beta version of Ultimate Traffic 2. The method behind my madness being that at least in the beta version 2 I can control the aircraft that it is showing. So with that, I hope you've enjoyed this series looking at budget add-on aircraft for FSX and prepared 3D from Virtual Columbia. So until the next episode, and yes, I've got plenty in the planning stage right now, all that remains for me to say is thanks for watching.